Hi guys, my name is Ronisha Horn. Welcome to my YouTube channel. You're tuned in to my new series called When God Writes Your Love Story, a series that tells various stories of how God brought Christian couples together. Ever since I was a little girl, I dreamed of telling love stories to the world. Who better to be the author than God himself? Now, without further ado, I present to you the bride and groom.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to When God Writes Your Love Story. How did God tell you that he or she was the one? I'm here with superstar couple. Okay, I'm setting it up for them. Mr. and Mrs. Darby, Nobles and Hadassah. Guys, welcome so much. Welcome so much. Well, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
For being here today. I can't even talk. I'm so nervous. I can't even talk. I'm so excited to have you guys here today because your story is phenomenal. I've heard bits and pieces of it, but I have not heard the both of you story. I heard her story, I heard his story, but I'm ready to hear God's story.
Yeah.
Ready to hear God's story. So if you guys just want to talk about what your life was like as a single before you even met each other, and then we'll go from there.
Okay.
You want to start?
Yeah.
Okay.
Man, my life as a single, I had a lot of transitions as a single, but I didn't know Christ before I met my husband. I went through a conversion in college. I went through a lot of ups and downs there, but then I found Christ. It was the best decision I had ever made in my life. But then after that, I went through a lot of just seasons of just trying to figure out who the heck I was, just by myself. Went through multiple relationships, but I was just like, nah, this probably ain't it. So I was cool. I was like, you know what? And with this last relationship, I'm done. God, I'm good with me and you. I'm so good and straight with just me and you. And then my friend, my roommate was like, I know you said that you were fine being single, but I have somebody I really want you to meet. And I was like, sis, I promise you I'm fine. Then she showed me a picture. I was like, I'll meet him.
Yes, sir.
I'll meet him. I'll say what it is.
He was fine, huh?
But he was so cute in the picture. I was just like, he better be cute in person because you know how these pictures are false advertisement sometimes. Okay,
Ain't no catfishing
false
around here.
advertisement. But yeah, before I met him, I was really just. I had finally got to a place where I was cool just being by myself. Like I was totally fine with that. Like it was what it was because I was in a relationship with somebody that I thought was really in the relationship with Christ, but they just kept leading me further and further away. And I was just like, I'm done with this. Like, I'm tired of putting other relationships before the one that is the most important, and that's my relationship with God. So I just was like, I'm good. I'm totally fine. But then I met him literally a month after I said that. That's when I met him. And I was just like, okay, this must be you, God, because I said I was cool.
Wow.
But he was everything that I had imagined, the person that I would spend the rest of my life would be like. He was literally like all of that. And I know that people say tear up your list, but I had a list and he literally was like everything on that list and even more than what I had even prayed for. So I was grateful.
Amen.
Real quick, you kind of just like ran through your conversion. You didn't say like you were a Muslim and then a Christian.
Oh,
Okay.
really?
Yeah. So,
Okay.
yeah, so
I think I met you as a Muslim.
Really?
Did we meet as a Muslim?
I don't know.
I think I remember. Okay, maybe I don't. I feel like I do. I feel like I remember seeing you in Garb now that he just said that.
I don't know.
Oh, no. Wow. Okay, maybe not.
Wow.
No.
Okay.
Yeah,
No.
because I didn't know. Girl, I didn't know nobody.
Okay.
But yeah, I grew up Muslim.
Mm-hmm.
That was just what my family did. My grandfather, before he passed, he was just the one that would do all the prayers and everything like that. We wear our scarves, our hair wraps sometimes. But once I got to college, my cousin had passed from a crossfire. Literally my first semester in school, and I had never dealt with a death that close to home before, so I had no idea how to deal with those emotions, and I literally felt like my heart was broken. So I have been in music my whole entire life. Like music is since the age of 3. I've been in music.
And she can sing, y'all.
Glory to the Lamb.
Facts.
But I joined the gospel choir on. Don't ask me why. I just loved music and I love to sing. So my roommate, her and I both sang in high school. So she was like, "Come join this choir with me." I was like, "I don't sing Jesus music. Like, what do you mean?" She was like, "Just join. You'll love it." She was like, "You'll just love the music and how it sounds," and I did. I ended up really, really loving it, and I was like, "Oh my God, this stuff is so dope!" But I had no idea what I was singing, so I asked the choir director, "I was like, what are we really singing about? Like, what are these songs like? What does it mean to say like Jesus, I love you?" I was like, "Cause I don't know him like that." I was like, "First of all, we don't even believe in him like that for real." So I was just like, what does this mean? So he just like took me to the side, and he really helped to like get me to the point where I had an understanding of who God was. And then I started to go to church. And the first church that I visited was the Word Church.
Wow.
And literally, I visited 2 times. The second time that I visited the church, he literally said, after he was almost done preaching, he was like, man, if you feel like what I've been saying is speaking to you, I want you to come up here. But I had literally had that thought right before he said it. And I was about to leave because I was like, man, this is awesome. It's time for me to go. I was like, man, he really speaking to me. I was getting my stuff up, ready to go. And then he said, before y'all go, if you really feel like what I had said today, like really spoke to you, he was like, God is telling you to come up here.
Wow.
So I went up there and I joined, and it's just history from there, you know?
Wow.
So yeah, I was there for 3 years. Then I went to New Spirit with him, and then we are where we are now.
Praise
so
God.
God did that.
Yeah, facts. For me, so I had a very traditional Christian upbringing. Grew up in a traditional Christian household. Both my parents were pastors. My grandparents were our pastors at the time, and so literally all I saw was like marriage growing up. And so for me as a single, you know, I never really dated, you know, with the intent of just dating. I was always more of the mindset, man, like if I'm going to be investing time with a young lady, like I want this to be someone that's going to be my wife. And so I would say that for me, you know, pretty much like some of the relationships was in, like I was convinced, like, man, she's the one. You know what I'm saying? Like, like I just love the conversation, you know, that we would have, the fun together we would have. And so I was just convinced, like in my mind, because I never really like just dated to date. And even when I went through like a season of my life where like I tried to just date and like talk to a whole bunch of like different females all at the same time, it just wasn't true to like the character and the nature of the man God had called me to be. And that's the thing about, you know, having a call in your life is like you can never get away from it no matter how hard you try. Like you may try to get out there, but you know, you kind of feel like that spiritual snatch. Like, boy, get back over here. Like you know what this
you
is.
know better.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you know better than this, man. So, you know, it really took me going away to college, you know, for me to really, you know, one, strengthen my relationship with God, because being, you know, a PK, a preacher's kid, you know, you grow up in church is really all that you know. I also played sports growing up, so I also had that side of my life. But, you know, being away on my own for the first time, like it really like, you know, forced me to examine my relationship with God. And a big part of that was, you know, what type of man did I want to become? And then 2, what type of husband did I want to become one day as well? Because like I said, my mindset was always, you know, God like prepare me to be somebody's husband one day. So, you know, I never really wanted to, you know, sleep around with a lot of different women. You know, I believed in, you know, saving myself, you know, for that woman and who God had really, you know, just handpicked for me. And so kind of fast forward the story a little bit. It was, 2012? Yeah, 2012. I had just came out of a relationship, you know, with a young lady that I thought, you know, was the one.
She wasn't it.
Just came out of a relationship with a young lady that I thought was the one. And I was just kind of in this place in my life where I was like, okay, God, like, you know, I'm real serious about where I am in you. I'm real serious about, you know, pursuing, you know, the one you have for me. And so, you know, I really just spent some dedicated time with fasting and prayer. I had just joined a new ministry at the time. I had just got to New Spirit. And like I was just on a spiritual high, like at that time in my life. And I just heard God clearer than I ever had before. Like that fire that you had when you was first saved. Like I felt that fire, like it came back heavy, came back strong. And so like in that point, I was like, God, like I felt like the only thing that was missing was, you know, that one. And so I spent some time, like I said, in prayer and in fasting, and I was like, Lord, let the next, you know, young lady that, you know, I engage in conversation, like show me like that it's her. Like let that be the one. And so, like she said, mutual friends of ours. Shout out to my bro and sis, John and Kelly
Y'all the
Winfrey,
plug.
because I know y'all are gonna watch this. They introduced us, and I remember Kelly had shot me a text one day, and she said, hey bro, like, you know, are you looking for somebody right now? I was like, shoot, I definitely been praying. What you got? And so she sent me the picture, and I was like, yeah, run that. Like, you know, send her my number, send her my Facebook, my Instagram. I'll give her my social security number. I don't care. Like, I just, you know, I was like, man, okay. Like, fine. And so I'll never forget. We were playing phone tag the first day.
Oh my gosh, we were so playing phone tag.
She kept missing my calls, I kept missing hers. But I know God was setting it all up because I hadn't yet prayed before we talked. And because I was so serious about where I was at in my life in regards to relationship, I prayed a very specific prayer before we talked for the first night. I said, God, I want to know within the first 5 minutes of this conversation if this is my spouse. That's how serious I was. And I kid you not, like, right hand, God is my witness. I knew within the first 2 minutes of us talking that this was the woman God had for me. And you know, we stayed on the night for that first night. We stayed on the phone like 7-8 hours, like our first conversation, just laughing, joking, talking about God.
In the morning.
Yeah, I had work in the morning, but I didn't care either, just because the vibe was just so. It was so natural. It wasn't forced. Like, I knew God was behind it. So, you know, for me, like, my singleness.
You instantly.
Yeah, like, I instantly knew, like, after I arrived at the place where I was like, okay, I don't want to just date to date. Like, God, I'm really intentional about, you know, who you have for me to spend the rest of my life with. So.
And in that first 2 minutes of conversation, you said this is the one.
I knew it.
Hands down.
I knew. Like, I asked God for 5 minutes. He cut it down by 3. He said, you want 5? I'm going to do it in 2. So
how did you know that he was the one? How did you know this was God's chosen for you?
Legit, when I first met him. Like, I've never believed in love at first sight, but the moment that I saw him.
You did after you met me.
Get
that on camera.
Can I get through what I want to say? No, but seriously, the moment that I met him, because after we had our conversation, I went into prayer like, Lord, I know I said that I was totally fine with it just being me and you, but if this is the man that you have for me, like, just please just like reveal it to me in some kind of way, because I really don't. I was in the space that he was in. I really don't want to date just to date. Like, as I'm growing and I'm being groomed in my relationship with you, I really see the importance of being with the one that God has for you. I was like, so if this is the man that you have for me, and I don't have to keep, you know, trying to be something for someone else, let me be all that I can be for him if this is my husband. So literally I was like, however you want to do it, God, I'm ready to receive. But the moment that I saw him, I literally was like, oh, that's my husband. Like, I literally fell in love with him the moment that I saw him. And at first I tried to fight it, but then our friends, being who they are, they called us out on it. They was like, y'all know what this is. Like,
how did that happen? So, okay, so you know, how did y'all tell each other?
So this is exactly what happened. And first I want to jump back on what you said. She was talking about, like, she tried to fight it at first. So I remember, like, you know, me and my guy, we were down in the lobby of the dorm. Like, we was just playing ping pong. I was still in school
at this time.
Yeah, she was still in school, and I remember, like, she walked in and, like, she ran
up
the stairs.
Because I didn't want to receive me. No, back up. The only reason why I did that because I had just got off work, and you surprised me. I did not have enough time to get cute.
She was shook. Your boy
shook her up. Okay.
So I was just like, okay, he gonna meet me like real me, because I ain't had the time to beat the face and nothing. Like, he met me like after I had just got off work, so I was just like, well, I'm gonna know, because he's just gonna meet the real me before she gets dolled up. I'm still cute, but you know, you want to do that extra for the person.
But when I walked upstairs and went into the room, like, I told my guy, like, walk ahead of me. Like, I'm gonna walk in.
You're so corny.
I'm gonna walk in behind him. Oh no, I was smooth. Listen, I told him, like, walk in before me, and so he walked in. He's saying hello to everybody, and so I walk in, like, you know, real slow, and then I go.
You did not walk in slow. Let's not.
Don't rain on my story. This is my moment right now, okay? Don't listen to this. I walked in real slow and smooth, and so I'm saying hey to everybody, and so he steps out the way, and then, like, she's right in front of me, and so I go to, like, give her a handshake. I didn't want to be too forward, and she was like, I don't do handshakes, and I was like, I got her.
No, like, y'all hug.
We hug.
You hugged all the muscles, girl.
Listen, because
I had on my
he
good
had on one
expensive
of the
cologne that
no, he did. And I was just like, Lord, just let him smell good. And he smelled so great. I said, Lord, you know my heart. You know my
He
heart.
gonna answer those
It
prayers.
smelled so good. And I was just like, oh, jeez, let me hold on.
So that night we're in the room and you know it's us two.
No, it was us and a whole bunch of people.
Yeah.
But then as the night left, like everybody,
Right.
you know, went back to their dorm.
Everybody
But it
started
was
to
just me and our
disperse.
friends that met us. It was just
Yeah.
all four of us. And we were just, you know, we was being cute with
Right.
each other and stuff. But then our friend John, he called it out. He was like, man, why y'all playing?
Yeah.
He was like, y'all know what this is.
But
He was
wait,
like,
before then we just started having a Bible study. Like, cause all of us was
Yeah,
like,
we did.
all of us was in this
Right.
place where we was just like so on fire for God. We just wanted to like read the word together. So John pulls out a Bible, like we start talking about scripture together. Then that leads into like just a moment of worship.
Yep.
Then we start praying, and
Yep.
while we're praying, like she and I are standing in the middle of the floor just holding each other. Like, and I just start praying over her. Like, I was like, God, like, I just pray over her right now. I pray over her womb. I pray over, like, I just started, like, because I just felt it. Like, what, you know, my God was saying, he was like, man, y'all know what this is. And, like, God literally confirmed it that night. So he confirmed it on the phone for me. But then when I went there, like, so that was maybe, the first call was maybe, like, Tuesday or Wednesday night. And I was on campus by Friday. Like, and he confirmed it right then and there.
yeah, and that was the first day we kissed too.
Yeah.
Wow.
Absolutely. And so once again, that was another all nighter. It was like I got to campus at maybe like 7. I didn't leave till maybe like 3 or 4.
Wow.
Like in the morning because we were all just in
Yeah, I
there.
think it was before then. I think you didn't leave after that. I think you didn't leave till 6. It was light outside.
Oh yeah, because we were all
All
4 of us
night.
were together.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
just
like
in that room.
like
Yeah.
heavy
Yeah.
prayer, heavy
Yeah,
intercession.
worship.
Yeah.
It was crazy that he started praying over my womb because he did not know that I had a doctor's appointment and the doctor on campus was telling me that she thought I may have had endometriosis.
Oh, wow.
So when he had said that, like I broke down because
Yeah.
I did not tell him that at all. And I was just like, Lord, this man is praying for my womb. And I did not tell him that she had just told me that, and I was dealing with that. Like I didn't tell him that. We wasn't there yet.
Right.
We was on the highs of being cute with each other. But when he said that,
God
it was just further confirmation. I'm like, God, this man is praying for me, and he did not even know that I was dealing with this.
But what she didn't know though, prior to me even, you know, meeting her, like that period that I spent just fasting and praying, I was very specific what I prayed before God. You know, I prayed specifically for, you know, the dynamic I wanted us to have relationship wise, you know, what I wanted us to make financially, where I wanted us to live. Then I also prayed like over our kids. I was like, Lord, you know, we'll birth healthy, prophetic, anointed children. And so like I was literally laying it all out to God prior to even me meeting her. And so when I met her, all those prayers I was praying, they connected because that was the one that I was literally praying those prayers for. And so like he had confirmed all that type of stuff, but that was as a result of me spending time with him first. Like, because this is where I got it wrong, and this is where sometimes a lot of couples get it wrong, is that we try to manufacture God's will for that person we think it is. Like, and one of the things that I always knew when I was trying to force it is because I would always try to either convince myself this was it, or I'd try to get confirmation from people around me. Like, what you think of her? Like, you know, you see this going somewhere, and it's like, man, only God can give you that confirmation. And because I just, you know, put myself in a place where, God, I only want to hear from you on this one. I'm not going to ask anybody else's opinion. I just want to hear from you on this one. I'm not going to try to create, you know, your will when it comes to my spouse, because you already created her for me. And so all I have to do is just leave myself in a position where when you speak it, I know that's the one. And that's what happened.
Amen. That's awesome, guys. That is a beautiful, beautiful story.
Yeah.
So what advice would you give to someone who is seeking to hear from the Lord, maybe single, maybe dating, maybe they're dating somebody and they're just not sure if this is a one or not? What would you tell them?
Honestly, and I know everybody says this, but patience literally is a virtue, and it's a fruit of the spirit too. Like, people really have to be patient and really get to the point where they truly know who they are and who they're called to be in their singleness. Like, your singleness is not a problem. Your singleness is not God punishing you. Like, that is literally God preparing you, because he knows what's on your heart.
Yeah.
And he knows ultimately what your will is, what you should be doing in that moment. And I wish I kind of did this a little bit more, was really working on and fine-tuning your spirit, you know, fine-tuning what God has called you to, learning your purpose, so that when you get that person that God has called you to, specifically for women, when he adds them into your life, because we don't go looking for that person, you know, we have to make sure that we are building ourselves up in the Lord, finding our confidence and knowing our posture, and preparing ourselves to be a wife. Because you don't just become a wife just because you're in a relationship.
Right.
Like, that should be something that you should be praying about. If it's a passion, a desire of yours, that should be something that you should be grooming yourself with, and allowing God to work on you within that season. And getting rid of those dark areas, not even just getting rid of, but working on those hard areas. Like, I told him, like, I wish I would have stayed in counseling before I had got into a relationship with you, because I really needed it in certain parts of our relationship. And they probably could have been different had I had stayed in my counseling, even though I'm back now. But had I had stayed there when I was dealing with what I was dealing with before, a lot of what we dealt with in the beginning of our relationship could have been handled. It could have been, God could have did what he needed to do in that moment. So really just be patient and work on you. Like, get to that space where you honestly can say, like, I love every portion of who I am and of where God has me. I appreciate this season of singleness. Like, I know that eventually it's going to come to something else, because I know, first of all, what was it that God promised you? If that's what he promised to you, then it's going to come to pass and it's going to manifest. But just be patient and do what you can. Plant your seeds in your singleness. Like, plant your seeds. Like, start encouraging other women that are married. Like, thank you, sis, for what you're doing. Thank you, sis, for the light that you're shedding and what you're pouring into this. I want to sow into you because I know that I'm sowing into good ground. Like, don't be envious or jealous of it. Like, really look to those people that you can get the encouragement from, because you know that eventually that's going to be your space. You know? So that's what I would really say. Like, really just be patient, work on yourself, and enjoy your season by yourself.
Amen.
Just enjoy it, because there's nothing wrong with it. Like, there's nothing wrong with it at all whatsoever.
Absolutely.
For me, I would say that, so there's like a couple specific points I'll touch on when it comes to like advice for, you know, singles or people that are engaged, people that are dating, whatever the case may be. I would say that, to the point my wife just made, like, don't look at your season of singleness as disappointment. Like, look at it as development. You know, I kind of look at it as, you know, when you're on a job, right? You know, the job is giving you specific tasks, and they want to see how you perform before you know, get promoted.
Amen.
And you see other people around you getting tapped for promotion. Other people are getting the positions they're applying for. And God watches, you know, how you steward your season of development, you know, because in my singleness, like, now don't get me wrong. Like, I'm not saying that you can't feel disappointed, because like, we're human, like, and, you know, and we desire companionship, you know. And so, like, there were days where I was like, man, this sucks, man. I just want somebody to be able to watch a movie with. Like, I want somebody to go to take out the dinner, Netflix and chill. You know what I'm saying? Like, so, like, that's real. But don't allow that moment, like, to become, like, just let it be a moment. You know what I'm saying? Like, let it be a moment, and look at that time like, okay, this is what I'm being developed in. Maybe you need to learn how to become a better steward financially, like, so you don't take bad financial habits into somebody that you're gonna marry. Maybe you need to learn time management, so you're not affecting their schedule with, you know, your lateness all the time. Maybe you need to work on your attitude. Maybe you're still bitter about stuff. Maybe you just need to work on you, because I'll be completely transparent. Like, a lot of what I'm doing now, and, you know, the doors that God has opened, like, there was a season that I had to go through of maturity, like, before I got with Hadassah, and then even while I was with her. Like, you know, I went through a season where I lost a good job. My car got repossessed. Like, it was all a result of me not being mature. And so while we're dating, she's looking at me like, still staying with me, but like almost 1 foot out the door, like, bro, like, you got to get it together. And this was after God had confirmed, like, this was the one. And so, like, we weren't even engaged yet. We were still dating.
We were just dating.
And so you have to, like, go through that development, and don't allow what God's using to make you better to cause you to become bitter. Like, you know, that's really how you have to look at your season of singleness. Like, God, just develop me. God developed me during this time, so that way I'm becoming the person that my spouse needs me to be. The second thing, piece of advice that I would also give is that as men, like, you know, it's our job. The Bible says, like, he who finds a wife finds a good thing. and obtain the favor from the Lord. So like we have to be seeking her out, like seeking her out through prayer, seeking her out through fasting. And so one of the things that we have to understand, like when God put Adam to sleep, he said like it's not good for man to be alone. And so oftentimes when we're praying and we just want to be with that woman like that God has for us so bad, like he caused Adam to be put to sleep. And so in that, the revelation is like as men, like God will just say like, look, you just need to chill in this season. Like if Adam was sleeping and I took from him what he needed for his life, like just be in a season where it's okay to just chill. Yeah. It's okay to
Anybody got a collection plate? We have a church. We have a church in here.
A virtual collection. Cash App. My name is on display. But yeah, like just be okay in a season where it's just you and God. Ooh. Like because Adam was in a season where it was just him and God before Eve showed up. And when God brought Adam out of that season, when he see it there, Adam was like, hey, it's on go. Like, cause I believe that like, if I just had to paraphrase for 2020, I believe when Adam woke up, he saw a bad sister. Like, like everything that he thought of, everything he prayed for, like was standing in front of him. And it's like, God, if you had to take me through a season of me just chilling in order to receive this, then it was worth it. Yeah. Like, and that's the same.
So funny because we both had our moment to pause before we met each other, and we were both like on that same wavelength. Like, I'm cool by myself, but you know, whatever it is that you have for me, like that's ultimately what I want. And I prayed for you, and as you were praying for me too before we even met each other. So I just think that that's also important as well. Just like, what is your prayer life like while you're single? Like really, like, or even when you're engaged, what is your prayer life for? Because now you know what this is, but now you have to also make sure that this really is what it is, and you're like going through the premarital counseling, and y'all are like checking off stuff that you and even putting stuff out there that you may not have said before, or y'all are like, this is what I'm expecting, but this is what I'm expecting. If that clashes, how are y'all gonna work through that? Like, I just feel like it's important to keep that consistent prayer life, because you really don't know what's gonna happen. You don't know what you're gonna come up against. You don't know what's gonna pop up in the relationship that you didn't see while y'all were dating, and now that y'all are engaged, and now that y'all are, like, it's levels to it, but you have to keep that consistent prayer life. Like, if I didn't have a prayer life, I would go off. I would have left him. I would have left him when he was in his immature stage. I would have definitely left him. But because I had that prayer life, God was just like, you got to be patient. Because at the end of the day, it's not your job to change him. It's your job to pray for this man. Right. It is your job to intercede for this man, because I have a gift to be an intercessor. Facts. So tap into that gift that I gave you and pray over your soon-to-be spouse, because he needs it. Like, he's not hearing from me in this moment, so you need to pray so that that door can be open so that he can hear me. Right. So
And then, I mean, it's so much good insight that she gave and what she said. Like, it takes time. You know, we dated for 4 years, like, before we even got married. You know, we were dating for 3 years before we even got engaged. Like, it takes time for, like, that quote-unquote mask to come off. For you to really see, like, you know, okay, God, I know this is who you got for me, but, like, when that mask come off, like, it causes you to reevaluate some stuff. But that's when prayer, like she said, comes in for you to really see, like, okay, God, your hand is still in this, like, and it's okay. And then my last piece of advice, the third point that I'll make is just that, you know, the Bible talks about Ruth was in the field working, right? When Boaz pulled up on her and he seen her, he was like, you know, oh, okay. So, like, for me, that just says, like, while we're in our singleness, like, what are you working on? You know, like, it's not enough for just the woman to be seen working. Like, the man got to be doing work as well. Amen. Like, because we're called to be, you know, the coverings of our household. Yes. And so, you know, how is it that, you know, you pull up on her, she working and you just chilling. And so, you know, in just what I shared about myself, it caused me to reevaluate some things. And I was like, man, I got to step my game up. Because, like, she was getting ready to graduate college. I was still, you know, dealing with some stuff that I was dealing with. And so I was like, man, listen, she on top of her stuff. Like, I'm not going to be in a position where she's handling her business and I'm not handling mine. Like, you know, as husbands, we should always be leading. Not that our wives can't, you know, show leadership as well, but we should be leading. Like, we set the tone for our homes. Absolutely. You know what I'm saying? And so, you know, like, it wasn't enough for Ruth to work. Boaz had to be working as well. So that way, when we both come to the table, like, we just stacking wins. Let's go. Because you bringing something, I'm bringing something, and together, you know, it's a great thing. So,
amen. Thank you guys so much for being here today.
Thank you for having us.
This is ministry. This is what it's all about. Talking about how God wrote our love story. God's gonna write your love story too. I love you guys so much. Thank you for being here. Mwah!